Yes, there it is. Our lovely Oregon intro. We've done it. We've crawled up the staircase. Our shoes did not stick to the floor. We walked around the puddle of water, through the cigarette smoke, and found our seats in the second balcony for another episode with your pal here, Greg Boyson, and our guy, our Florida man, Frank Nova, Freddie Freeman's Veneers this week. Baseball theme. That was your old podcast, Frank.
That podcast lasted 12 weeks. My old podcast, I'd give you something like, well, welcome to the second balcony where we give you our organ before we crank our hogs.
Yeah. Now you just did it on this podcast. So
and we guarantee a happy ending.
Well, maybe. As long as it doesn't go to overtime.
And we don't have enough subscribers. We don't have enough subscribers yet for a money shot.
Yeah, no, that comes at 1,000.
Hey, you were at the burlesque show the night I did a 5-minute routine that died a million deaths, and it was hockey announcers doing play-by-play for a porn movie.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that. Yeah,
it was pretty terrible.
Well, it wasn't the right audience.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm sure if I'd done that, like I've done hockey material in other places where it works better. No,
the problem was you followed the stripping gritty, and nobody's following a stripping gritty.
I opened. I didn't follow anybody. The MC introduced me because I was the warm up.
That's what. Okay.
Yeah,
all I remember is the stripping gritty. That's all I remember from that.
I don't know if I don't know if Nitty Gritty is the name of the stripper, and I don't know the proper pronoun for Nitty Gritty, but I have seen the performer in other characters, and she's always they. I apologize if Nitty Gritty's listening. I'll actually ask after this. What are your proper pronouns? Because I was talking about you on a podcast, and I want to make sure I have it right for next time.
Hit that subscribe button, Nitty, if you're listening.
Nitty, hit that subscribe button.
Hit that subscribe button.
And our
tell all your burlesque friends.
400. Oh yeah. That was the whole thing. That was when our good friend Allie Lawrence was doing Buck and Grind, which was a combination burlesque show and hockey tournament.
That was a good time. That was a good time for sure.
Right. We sponsored a team that year. That was a hockey night team. Actually, Hockey Night sponsored a team every year that she did it.
That feels like a lifetime ago for so many different reasons. It was a long time ago.
God, I'm coming up on 9 years since we stopped Hockey Night.
Yeah. So it's those are good times, good days.
I don't know if you can see, but in the background here, Hockey Night lives on. I have 5 Hockey Night articles signed by the subjects of said articles.
Nice.
So what do we got here? Starting at this end, we've got Denny Savard, Eric Nestorenko, Stan Mikita, Dennis Hull, Patrick Kane. This is, by the way, if you're on Spotify, just imagine these are the most beautiful things you've ever seen.
I mean, it's immaculate. I'm impressed.
And then up here is Bobby Hull and John Velivo. Here is Hull and Mikita. Oh, no, pardon me. Oh, here is the Hanson brothers, and there is Hull and Mikita. So that's and you got a couple of pictures. What do you got? We never set the scene for the listeners.
Yeah, we've got a Corey Crawford autograph picture, and then this one here is Kane, Keith, Sharp, and Taves lined up at the national anthem, all signed by all 4 players. Got that at a charity auction. Yeah, and we have you can't see it, but I have a shadow box with an old picture of the old stadium, and it's got 8 autographed pucks in it. Mikita, Hull, Roenick, Larmer, Savard. I'm pretty sure Tony Esposito's in there too. So yeah, they got that's one of my prize possessions. He's on the back.
He's on his back.
Yeah. All right. Now that we've got our trip down memory lane out of the way.
And the scene has been set for you
Yeah.
as you by your fireplace.
Absolutely.
With your snifter of fine brandy and a Cuban cigar.
Two weird-looking men in their offices full of hockey memorabilia and talking about the Blackhawks. When did we do? I don't even remember our last episode. How many games have they played since we spoke last time? Just the two road trip games?
The two road trip games.
So the
Winnipeg
6-3 loss in Winnipeg and the 3-2 OT loss to the Oilers last night. Neither of those games were bad. I mean, yeah, it sounds like 6-3. You'd get dominated. They got dominated by the Jets, but they really didn't. They made it interesting at the end. I give them credit that they never really folded up the 10th. They scored those 2 third-period goals. They were still trying hard, which is something we can't say for teams in the past. But it just seemed that, I mean, there were good portions of that game. The Blackhawks were the better team at 5-on-5, but it just seemed that every time they made just the littlest mistake, a half a step getting into the slot, caught puck watching for a split second, a bad turnover in neutral. Every time that happened, the Jets scored, and that's why they're the Jets. That's why they're good.
Right.
You can't make mistakes like that against a team like Winnipeg because they'll bury you. But overall, wasn't.
I had my mild heart attack in the first inning where Sam Renzel almost put the puck in his own net.
Yeah, he's had some moments these last few games where you're like, "Yep, there's the 20-year-old. There's the kid
guy
thinking sometimes out there."
There's the difference in the pace of play between the NCAA and the NHL.
Yeah,
I know.
Overall, he's been good.
He has been good. I feel like he would definitely benefit from 20 to 30 games in Rockford just to get some exposure with a little bit of a slower pace of play, because his whole thing is him with the puck in his own zone. That's the hole in his game, and it's a fixable hole because he's good in everything else he does. Right. So you just get those jitters out, and it all comes down to decision making. And when you have that split second of extra time to make your decision on the ice, that will refine the decision making process. So I think that would help a lot in his game, and especially because you see what Korchinski's doing down there. Korchinski, pardon me, I think he should probably get another shot in the NHL pretty soon. One of the things, and this was actually on our outline. What do you know? One of the things I did want to talk about was Matt Grzelcyk has actually been okay.
Yeah, he's been fine.
At the beginning of the season, it's like, oh Christ, another one of these guys. But he's pulled his game together, and especially at even strength, he's been really good.
Yeah, I mean, he's been serviceable. He's been, he's never been a liability on the ice, not yet. Like it's not like TJ Brody last year where it was just like he was a traffic cone out there half the time, and not even one of the good ones, one of those imitation cheap traffic cones that weren't even orange. Yeah. But
right.
He's been fine. You see why I'm still kind of surprised he had to go to PTO route this year. I would have thought somebody would have given him a contract. Because he was good last year in Pittsburgh. He had 39 assists for Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh was craptacular last year.
Yeah, it wasn't like he was just out there feeding Crosby.
Yeah, so he's been good. He's even made, I know the biggest reason, that they kept him around and gave him the PTO in the first place was because of those 39 assists last year. He could help out, but he's been fine defensively too. He's not the biggest guy in the world, but he's not afraid to use his body to clear guys out in front of the nets or go along the board. So, yeah, as far as your 6/7th defenseman, you could do a lot worse. The Blackhawks have done a lot worse in recently.
Oh, yeah. And, I think the original game plan was, he could stick around for 30 games, maybe even 40 games. And, at that point, you could bring in Korchinski. At the deadline, you got to figure both he and Connor Murphy are going to be popular topics of conversation, especially if Murphy stays healthy.
Yeah.
But the other thing too is, depending on which forwards show up when, it might be time. We might have a situation where Jeff Blashill has 12 forwards he can trust, and he might wind up going to a more traditional 12-6 alignment at that point.
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening, especially later in the season when he's kind of figured out what the young core guys are capable of and more importantly, not capable of doing. And if you get, if you do move on from both Murphy and Grzelcyk at some point, you bring up Korchinski, maybe Alan Del Mastro, but you might not even have 7 guys you even want to throw out there at that point. So,
right.
And if you have Oliver Moore, Nick Lardis, even later, maybe Frundell, guys like that, guys from college and juniors, you're going to have to play 12 forwards just for the fact that, you've got guys you need to see out there.
Yeah. And I think part of the thinking too is the blue line is, Levshinov had 18 games coming into this year at the NHL level, and Lardis had, or not Lardis, Rinzel had 8 or 9,
something like that.
So yeah, that's 2 guys on your blue line that are really, really green. So Korchinski would actually be a veteran compared to those 2 guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Korchinski's got close to 100, over 100 games in the NHL now, close to 100 games. Yeah. He's played a full season here. And I think, an older, wiser, more experienced Kevin Korchinski should be a better Kevin Korchinski. But you're seeing the progress, and that's all you want to see. You're seeing the progress with these young guys. Levshinov is a far better player than he was on opening night to now.
Yeah.
Still a work in progress, still a long ways to go before he's considered a star, but you're seeing why he was taken 2nd overall.
Yes.
You're seeing those instincts. You're seeing what he could do with the puck, and he's pretty good in his own zone too when he's just reacting as opposed to thinking. He's thinking less, reacting more, and that's what you want.
He and Wyatt Kaiser are a really damn good pair.
Yeah, Kaiser's been terrific this season. All the hype for Rinzel and how good he looked last year, and Alex Vlasic is about as solid and consistent as you get. Wyatt Kaiser might be their best defenseman right now.
He's been really good at both ends of the ice.
His ability to get back and prevent a breakaway chance without getting a penalty has been so damn impressive because he's done that 2 or 3 times already this year.
I know. Maybe you could teach Connor Bedard how to not force a penalty shot.
Yeah, you know what? Give me that penalty shot against over a 2-minute power play with Edmonton any day of the week.
Yes. And I was going to say, if the reason you are facing a penalty shot is because the only man back on a breakaway is Connor Bedard is not your problem.
No, exactly. That was, Connor Bedard has, I think, a lot of the national narratives and the social media narratives of the people that want to label a kid that, has put up really good numbers for a teenager, better numbers than Nathan McKinnon, better numbers than Jack Hughes, their first years in the league. He's flipping the narrative that he's, a bust, which is insane to even think.
His head-to-head numbers in the equal amount of games as Patrick Kane are almost exactly the same as Patrick Kane.
Yeah, I think he's
what
got.
What else do you want from him?
Right, and Patrick Kane worked out pretty well here. So
yeah,
he's on a 4-game point streak. He had the hat trick The impressive thing about him this year is he's doing a lot of the little things away from the puck, things he wasn't doing before. He's realizing situations with the puck where in years past he'd try and skate through 4 or 5 guys. Now he's realizing, okay, I just gotta chip it in and live to fight another day. He's realizing that I can't get a pass through there, even though every once in a while he does sneak a pass. Just like that Bertuzzi power play goal in Edmonton, you're like, man, how did he get that through there?
I
know. I don't get mad at him trying to force passes because 99% of the time he gets them through.
But like in the Winnipeg game, I think I even texted you about the fact that he just kept carrying the puck down the left wing and they were just collapsing 4 guys on him. And it's one of those things, okay, Bedsy, we've been over this. You can't do that. That's Chris Versteeg shit. You can't do that.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, last night in Edmonton was, one of those games where he relished the opportunity and took full advantage of it. And because he spent a lot of time out there against the McDavid line. And according to the stats at naturalstattrick.com, they spent 5 minutes, 7 seconds together at 5-on-5, McDavid and Bedard. And the Blackhawks outshot them 3-0. The scoring chances were even 3-3. And the Oilers did not get a single high danger scoring chance while Connor McDavid was on the ice against Connor Bedard. That's damn impressive.
And the other thing I've been seeing a lot more of out of Bedard this year is he's looking like a fucking Florida Panther on the forecheck.
Yeah. I mean, that's the Jeff Blashill effect.
Yeah.
He's got these guys.
They're getting a lot more aggressive on the forecheck. Once the talent catches up to the program, catches up to the system, the Blackhawks are going to be a tough night for every night.
Well, I mean, they're faster than almost everybody in the league. So, hell yeah, get in on that forecheck. You're going to win a lot of those races. You're going to win a lot more than you lose.
Yeah, the one thing I definitely saw in the Winnipeg game, though, and it kind of broke my heart, was Jonathan Taves was running on fumes in the third period. He couldn't keep up with anybody.
No, and, I mean, they played him for 21 minutes. I mean, that's
which is insane.
Way too. I know it's his former team, but it's also October. He's 8 games back after not playing for 2 full years. What are we doing?
Right. Yeah, and maybe he's still playing himself into shape, but giving him over 20 minutes in a game, especially a game that was kind of a blowout.
It was 4-1 going into the third period. There was no need for him to be taking as many shifts as he was in the third period, but
right.
I don't know. Knowing Jonathan Taves, it was him just jumping over the boards, and it wasn't Scott Arnell's decision necessarily. So
I think Scott Arnell trying to tell Jonathan Taves no would go about as well as we saw
Jeremy Colleton trying to tell him no.
Jeremy Colleton trying to tell him no. I was going to say when I'm already forgetting his name, the manager of the Blue Jays, when he went to take out Max Scherzer, and Scherzer yelled at him, and he just went back to the dugout.
I mean, there's certain guys that you just say, okay, you give them the leeway. 2021 he played against the Blackhawks, the longest the most he's played all season. The game before that, an overtime game against Minnesota, he only played 14:32, then 13:04 and 12:06. So he had
that's about the ice time he should be getting.
Yeah. And then the game after yesterday, Winnipeg beat the Penguins. He played 15:56 in that game. I
think everybody look, if a dope like me watching on TV is sitting there saying, shit, man, Taves is gassed. Everybody in the Winnipeg organization is like, okay, we pushed him too much in this game.
Yeah. There'll definitely be some load management working there at some point. You would hope. I mean, it is great to see him out there, and even though he's not wearing the Blackhawks uniform anymore, it's still great to see him out there playing at a high level.
Yeah,
and being healthy. He does look like he's He's not the Jonathan Toews of old, but nobody was expecting that. But
No.
he's been productive and effective for them. So good for him. Hopefully he can maintain that through the year. I'd love to see him play some playoff hockey again.
Yeah, the good role for him with that team would be like the first year that the Hawks won the cup and they had John Madden. And Madden was your defensive zone draw guy and basically your clubhouse guru. Like here's how you get to the Stanley Cup. Like he's got the roadmap.
Yeah, he's your 2010 John Madden or 2013 Michael Handzus. Will play real good for you, score a couple goals.
Yeah, but they didn't need Handzus to be a guru. First of all, Handzus didn't. He had less cup rings than anybody in that room because he had never won. He was true. He was the first handoff in 2013.
Yeah, but they'll have similar roles, I think, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, that leadership he'll bring come playoff time. He could sit there and say, "This is when Brent Seabrook yelled at me for doing this, and this is when Brent Seabrook yelled at me for doing that."
Well, as long as they don't play Calgary, because Brent Seabrook works for Calgary.
Right. I don't think Calgary is getting in the playoffs this year.
No.
They're not. They're having the season this year they were expecting to have last year.
And Brent Seabrook is doing what, player personnel or something like that, or
something. He might be. He might
have
did
such a bang up job with Team Canada last year.
He might be doing the. He might be doing a like a Chris Kunitz role with the Hawks and just dressing for practice and throwing passes around all day. He's got one of the best jobs in hockey.
Yeah.
No pressure on Chris Kunitz. Just come to practice every day. You get to wear the tracksuit. You throw passes to Connor Bedard for an hour. You go home. It's a good gig. All right. We got.
Let's talk about Jason Dickinson.
Yeah, Jason Dickinson is missed practice again. The Hawks practice this afternoon in Seattle. They play the Kraken tomorrow. He's missed the last 2 games. Or wait, when did he get hurt? He got hurt in the Winnipeg game, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the most recent time. Winnipeg.
Yeah,
he went into the boards, banged up his shoulder, and
well, he's been bugged by the shoulder since the Boston game. And then, I don't even think like his last shift, it was posted by Blackhawk Focus on X, who if you're still hanging out on X and you're a Hawks fan, make sure you follow Blackhawks Focus. He does a really good job of putting up lots of the clips almost immediately. Make sure you're following a lot of guys like on the beat, like Ben Pope and Charlie will tweet his highlights out because he gets them out faster than the Blackhawks do. But he tweeted, he put his last shift and he kind of took a shot and then kind of right away went to the bench, signaled get on here. So, I mean, if you're hurting your shoulder shooting the puck, your shoulder's messed up. So I think we can't keep doing this start again, stop again stuff with him. Like if it's hurt, somebody needs to hide his helmet and say, you're going to miss a few games until you're 100%, because what's the point of doing, you play 2 games, you miss 2 games, you play 2 games, you miss 2 games, go sit out for miss 5, 6, 10 games, whatever it takes to get healthy, and then play the rest of the year.
Yeah.
They haven't recalled anybody yet, so I don't know if they're still hopeful. No, but of course, it didn't take long for people to realize that Oliver Moore did not play in Sunday's Ice Hogs game against the Grand Rapids Griffins, a game they lost 6-2. So of course, as soon as they saw those rosters, people immediately assumed Oliver Moore is getting recalled. Maybe not. Maybe they just
are we cranking hogs now?
I mean, I was a little bit before we started recording, but we can continue if you want. Yeah, sure. Time to
keys hydration.
All right, let's crank our hogs. That's what
Let's crank our hogs.
That's what a certain segment of our listeners audience is here for anyway. The sickos, they're here for the cranking of the hogs. But Ilya Mikheyev missed a game and came back. Played last night against Edmonton, was very effective. But having Jason Dickinson healthy is big for this team.
Yeah.
So if he's going to miss a long period of time, you play in the 11 forwards. You still have an extra forward with Dickinson out, but Landon Slaggert's been kind of meh. So I would think if you wanted to recall more, I don't think you want to do it if it's just going to be for a game or two.
No. If you're recalling more, it's going to be for a stretch. And
you don't want him to ever go back.
No, and the same thing's going to happen with Nick Lardis. They're going to leave Lardis down there. They might even leave Lardis down there long enough for the AHL All-Star game at this point.
I mean, it's in Rockford. Got to remember that. It's in Rockford this year, so he's definitely, as of now, will be in it. Probably Oliver Moore.
Right now,
well.
Lardis, Korchinski, and Comezo are probably all shoo-ins at this point.
Yeah, and Oliver Moore too. So if he's there,
if he's there.
You want to load it up, but they also do a weird format down there, so you can't have that many guys. They do the 3-on-3 tournament too,
right?
But everybody plays everybody it's a full round robin as opposed to the way the NHL does it with the two divisions playing against each other.
Right.
So that probably limits them to 3 at tops if you include Comezo. But I mean, it doesn't make sense.
I mean, I honestly haven't looked at AHL goalies' numbers to see who's doing well and who's not. Comezo, he had a couple of rough games, but even with those rough games, his save percentage and his goals against look really good.
Yeah, and he's the goalie for the home team. It makes too much sense. It's an easy one. You want to make sure that people are buying tickets in Rockford, so the best way to do it is to stack up the Central team with Rockford Ice Hogs. But they, if Dickinson is going to be out for a while, then calling up Moore is fine. Give him a stretch here, let him. But to do it for him to play against the Kraken and Vancouver and then head back, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. If you're going to do that, you would rather call up a Joey Anderson or Dominic Tomanito. Like those guys are more of that, plug them in on that fourth line, get your 9 minutes a night. They're not going to hurt you. That's fine for 2 games. Like I don't know if Moore or Lardis are the guys you want to just recall for a game, send down. Now if Jason Dickinson's about to go on IR and they're going to shut him down for a couple of weeks, then okay, bring up Moore, see what happens. You could worry about it. If he comes here and he basically does the Frank Nazar and says, you're not sending me back to Rockford, you figure it out when Dickinson comes back. You figure it out. You say goodbye to Sam Lafferty, you waive him, you send Landon Slaggert back down to the Ice Hogs. You figure it out. It's not a bad problem to have.
Yeah. And the way the schedule lays out for the Hawks coming up, I mean, you've got Seattle, you've got Vancouver again, you've got Calgary, and then you got the Red Wings. So right there, that's a 4-game stretch where more speed will come in really handy.
For sure.
Those are 4 teams that play a fast game. None of them play a heavy game.
Yeah, I mean, he'd like be a problem. Yeah, he'd be a problem.
The perfect spot to bring him in.
Yeah, so we'll see how that plays out.
And one of the other things I've really liked down in Rockford, and we talk about individual players, but one thing I do want to talk about, and this was in our outline, so it's what I want to talk about. Poor Greg, I sent him an outline and he never adds anything to it.
No, that's fine, because you know what? You cover all the topics we need to talk about, so there's really not. And plus, I could just throw in whatever I want whenever I want. True. So,
but the coaching job being done in Rockford. I want to talk about that because I think it's been really good what has been going on with Nightingale slotting the younger players with veterans. He's not just throwing out a line of kids. He's not just
Right.
pairing up the kid defenseman. He's giving everybody a shot with a veteran. So, you've had Moore and Lardis skating with Brett Sini. You've got Joey Anderson skating with Aiden Thompson, who had another goal today.
Yep.
Korchinski skating with a veteran. Del Mastro skating with a veteran. They're all, they're making sure to give all these guys spots where they can learn the game from somebody who's next to them. They're not just two kids out there trying to figure it out together.
For sure. I mean, you even have the third line last night was Sammy Savoie, who scored today, and Martin Misiak on the wings with Jackson Cates, who's a AHL veteran. And Misiak got his first pro point Saturday night, assisting on a Cates goal. So you're seeing that, and Korchinski's playing with Gavin Fitzgerald, who is another one of these AHL pros, man. He knows what to do.
Letter on the sweater.
Yeah, I mean, so that's working out well. I mean, it was funny. Blashill was asked after morning skate the other day about, have you been keeping up on the Ice Hogs? And he says, yeah, they've been off to a good start. And, followed up like, well, what do you think the secret of that is? And it's like the coaching. They got good coaching down there. So, Nightingale's getting his orders from up top as far as, the idea of who needs to play in what role and all that. And then he's taken it and he's been pushing the buttons pretty well there.
And this is what has been missing with Blackhawks player development for a very long time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's
this is definitely not the way Barry Smith did things.
Oh, no. He was too busy running the haunted amusement park on Scooby-Doo to care about the details.
We need to get James Naveau in here if we're going to be doing Scooby-Doo jokes.
Yeah. Well, hey, he's always welcome to stop in as long as he doesn't get in trouble at his day job.
Yeah. That's why we talk about my baseball podcast in the past tense.
Yeah. Well, we've both been on the end of James's day job telling him he can't do things. So it's
anyway.
He's happy. Good for him. That's all that matters.
Let's not get our friend in trouble here.
Yeah, nobody's listening from up there.
None of our 16,666 listeners work for Peacock.
Probably not. I doubt it. But yeah, the Ice Hogs are they lost both games this weekend, but people have to not focus so much on the results and the wins and losses. The AHL is such a strange league. It's such a roller coaster season where one team will look unbeatable for 2 weeks and then they'll just be god awful for 2 weeks and then they'll be okay again. And the rosters fluctuate so much, but you just want to see the consistent play from the kids that have a chance of being NHLers, and that's what you've been getting so far. Yeah.
And the thing you have to remember is not every minor leaguer is going to be a Chicago Blackhawk. Not everybody in Rockford is going to be a Blackhawk. You can watch a guy like Samuel Savoie, and it's as more guys are coming up, he's dropping further down on the food chain. He might not have a spot. He could have a spot somewhere in the NHL, or he can carve. I think we talked about this last week. He can carve himself out a very nice AHL career. But when AJ Spellacy goes pro next year, there goes that spot.
Right. Yeah.
Spellacy gives you everything Savoie gives you with size.
Right. And there's a couple other guys coming up that have that too. But, Savoie has a lot of those other, intangibles that people like to talk about. He's absolutely adored in the locker room. He's got that pest factor that teams and fans love. So, I think that helps him a bit. But right, he's not a shoe-in NHLer by any means.
No.
In every draft class, he gets dropped a little further down
Yep.
the list. So we'll see how that goes. But he brings an aspect that not a lot of other prospects do. So it might help him. But when you look at guys like Gavin Hayes, a second-round pick just a couple of years ago, he didn't even play Saturday night. He was back in the lineup Sunday, but he didn't even play Saturday. And when he does play, he's on the fourth line. And this was a guy that came in as a second-round pick and just hasn't found it yet. Now, last year was bad. His first pro year, he dealt with 2 separate injuries that cost him a lot of time. But that's a guy that, hey, he needs to figure it out soon, or else another draft class is going to come in. Another handful of guys are going to turn pro for next year. And if you're losing, playing time to ECHL guys, it's going to get even harder down the road.
Yeah. He could wind up being an Indy Fuel fan favorite.
Could be, maybe. We'll see how that goes. You were talking just before we hit the record button, speaking about the next draft class. You mentioned a kid you wanted to bring up that starts to feel like a potential Blackhawks pick.
So we've talked about Nathan Bame a lot, or at least I have a lot, and I love the kid. I think he's great. He strikes me as a guy who I think he'll be a good pro. And he's lighting it up right now for the Kamloops Blazers. He's got 21 points in 15 games. 8 of them are goals. And I was like, oh, okay, so he must be like leading the team in scoring. You would think they've got a fella down there who is in this year's draft class, and his name is JP Hurlburt. And I actually watched some video on this guy because, like, holy shit, he's got 28 points in 16 games, and he's in this year's draft class. And, I looked him up. I looked up, like, the various draft rankings, and he's not ranked terribly high. He's listed at 5'10", 180, or 5'10", 176, pardon me. And there's a lot of YouTube video out there on him. He was born in Texas. He came up through the Dallas Stars youth program, and he's got the nickname the Texas Tornado. So he's already got a great nickname. And he's committed to Michigan for next year. So his game has a lot of Frank Nazar to it, a lot of speed, a lot of flash, and just really entertaining player to watch. And watching him skate the way he's skating, and the Blackhawks are always watching everybody when they go to watch their own guys. So while they're there to see how Nathan Bame is going, they're also keeping an eye on Hurlburt. And when you go to any of the mock drafts, you go to Tankathon, for instance, they've got Hurlburt going a little bit. Right now they have the Hawks picking at 13 and 15, and they've got Hurlburt going at 23. So it wouldn't be a terribly big reach for them to grab Hurlburt with one of those spots, but it feels like that's around where he's going to land. And, they call it 13, 15. It's really 12 and 14 because wherever Ottawa is supposed to pick, that pick's been forfeited.
Right. Well, and that second pick is the Panthers pick, and it's likely going to be a little lower on the board, maybe right around that 22, 23 spot.
Exactly.
And it's only November. Those rankings are going to change 50 times between now and
Yeah. I definitely think he's going to wind up coming up on all. If he keeps scoring the way he's scoring, and right now he's projecting out to 119 points for the year. He is. I don't know that 119 points in the WHL keeps you in the teens.
Probably not. I mean, he's definitely a guy that has that potential to raise up and get himself, closer to 10 than 20th. But it's definitely a good name to keep an eye on. And you're right. They like to see they go and see guys. They're out there to see BAME, so of course they're watching. I mean, how many Brantford Bulldogs did they draft the past couple of years? Like one a year for the last 3 years. You know, they liked Lardis. They were going to watch Lardis. They fell in love with Vanacker. Last year, they go watch both of them, and they say, "Oh, this Parker Holmes kid, you know, he could fill a need that we need." You know, I don't know what his NHL potential is, but you know, it's just, hey, it's a 5th round pick. We know this guy. We're familiar with him. We've watched him. We might as well take
he's a grinder.
something. Yeah, might as well take a guy that at least we know what he's capable of than a guy that, you know, we watched some footage of him on Finland once, and you know he's never going to come here.
Right. And speaking of footage, there's one guy. Do you know Lee Graceman by any chance?
The name sounds familiar.
Okay, he's been doing a lot of really good video breakdowns on Blackhawks prospects. Particularly, he's done a really nice one on Kanserov and one on Frundell.
Yeah, that's one of the guys they used to do Chicago hockey radio that I was on a few times.
Okay,
but they're not. I haven't seen anything new from them for a while. But yeah, I know who you're talking. I know Lee.
Yeah. So yeah, his videos have been really good breakdowns. So if you're looking for somebody to follow on YouTube after you subscribe to us,
right,
go check him out. He's got some good videos. And tell him Second Balcony sent you, and he'll say who.
No, he knows me.
Oh,
I'm sure Lee's watched. I'm sure he's watched.
Nobody remembers me anymore.
I drove to their studio / apartment in a snowstorm to do their podcast once, so he owes me a subscription.
Lee, press that button, damn it!
Yeah,
we gave
tell
you
all
a
your
plug.
buddies. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, like his Anton Frundell video got 3.6 thousand. He's got 3,600 views on his Anton Frundell video. I don't even know if we've got 3,600 views for all of our podcasts combined.
Not even close. I doubt it. We need videos. That's what we need to do. We need to stop cranking our hogs and put together some prospect videos.
Change our website to Only Hawks.
Yeah. Man. But Frundell had a couple assists the other day, and I don't know if you had a chance. I linked it in Sunday's morning chirps over on blackhawkup.com. Shameless plug. Roman Kanserov did an interview with RG Media, who's one of like the Russian outlets.
Yeah.
And talked about his season and talked about, you know, what his plans are. And it certainly sounds like he's ready to come to Chicago as soon as that contract is over.
He sounded like last year, summer of 24, I saw an interview with him where I think actually Scott Powers might have.
I think it was Powers. Yeah. Powers did talk
I think he had a piece on him. And Kanserov basically sounded like he was begging the KHL to let him out of his deal so he can come over.
For sure. And the interesting thing that I liked from that interview was that he had said that the Hawks are calling him more often now than they had in the past. They're talking to him like every 10 days, and they're actually like saying, "Hey, we like that you're doing this. You need to do, you know, try and do a little more of this, try and do a little more of that." Actually getting feedback, and you know, that's another sign that like, yeah, he's coming here as soon as this is over with. I know it mentions that his contract technically ends in May, but we'll see what happens when their season is over. You know, if they have a short playoff run, maybe they let him out for those last couple months to come over in March, but we'll see. But definitely training camp next year, I expect to see him. To see him at the Curvers Classic at the new championship arena at
man, is the Curvers Classic. It's lining up so beautifully for the Hawks because you're going to have the games are going to be in the new arena that they're building there, the new rink, and they're going to have Kanserov. They're going to have Frundell. They're going to have probably they'll have Van Acker. They'll probably have
Boisvert. Maybe well, no, he's going to college, but you know, you could have whoever
let's
they
see who's
pick.
going to college. Let's see who's going to college because you got a guy like Vaslav. I'm saying his name correctly this week. Vaslav
Yeah.
Nastrassel is just lighting it up at UMass.
Yep.
He might not last past this year. He's a guy who might get Hobie Baker votes.
Maybe.
Boehm, we talked about Boehm already. He's committed to Arizona State. He might bypass Arizona State and be the 19-year-old in Rockford. We'll see. We'll see how everything. And there's always Artur Kayama, Blackhawks
Maybe.
perennial prospect.
He's going to be 33 years old playing in the Curvers Classic. Could be older than half the parents sitting there watching.
I was going to say he'll be able to do both the Curvers Classic and the Shoresy Classic in the same year.
Yeah. But you look at other guys. John Mustard could be a guy that turns pro next year. He's off to a good start with 5 goals and 8 points in 7 games at Providence. His second season there.
Yeah, but has Providence, have they played any of the big boys yet?
Not yet, but
so
they jumped a little bit. I mean, they did have 2 games against Michigan to start the season.
Yeah.
And he had a goal in each of those games, so that's saying something. And then they played RPI, which sometimes has a good team. University of St. Thomas, that doesn't count.
Yeah.
And then last weekend they played UMass Lowell, which is not a terrible team, but not a powerhouse by any means. So
no.
But he's off to a good start. So yeah, I mean the Curvers Classic next year is going to be a lot of fun for them.
Yeah,
for sure.
A lot of fun for Hawks fans.
It's going to be like the real first big event that they're going to have in that new championship rink that the Chicago Steel are going to be playing in. And, it's going to fit 2,500 people in there. And, they got the new bar and restaurant upstairs and all the, bells and whistles, the Blackhawks Hall of Fame. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that. This is
definitely going to be it's going to be a real showplace. It's great for the USHL too. The USHL has become a much better brand of hockey. You're seeing more and more guys drafted out of the league.
Yeah.
And, especially with the new rules, guys know they can go that you can skate in the USHL, go from there to college, or, I don't think I don't know if you'll ever see anybody from the USHL make the jump straight into the pros, or you don't see it very often.
I mean, there's
in a while.
It's definitely there's a stop in between. You get drafted and then you go to college for a year. But I mean,
that was the Levchinov train.
Yeah, I mean, look at the recent history. I mean, Macklin Celebrini was a USHL player, and Oliver Moore, and Frank Nazar played, for the development team there. And you look at guys in the NHL now, like Will Smith and Ryan Leonard. They were USHL guys. Tons of guys. Owen Power, Adam Fantilli.
Wasn't Vlasic USHL?
I think he played. Yeah, he played for the development team. I think for a season before going to Boston. So they've had a ton of high draft picks over the past year. Logan Cooley's another one. Just a ton of guys. Luke Hughes.
Logan Cooley. Newly signed Logan Cooley.
Yep. Millionaire Logan Cooley. But you see him all over. It used to, USHL was just kind of like, oh, okay, whatever. Brock Faber's another USHL alum. It used to be like that's where you would find goalies. You get goalies from the USA who played the USHL. But the Chicago Steel had a lot to do with that. They really started under Hardy. I can't think of his first. Is it Ryan Hardy, who's now with the Maple Leafs organization?
Ryan Hardy.
He was the one that really started that going when he got guys like Owen Power and Mackie Semiskevich and Sean Farrell and who's the other kid that's in Montreal that played there? I can't think of it. Yeah, it's fine.
I can't
It's
either.
not, yeah, but I mean, it
I
started
was
with
gonna say,
that.
if you're having a brain cramp, I don't stand a chance.
Yeah, no, I can't. I can't think of. It's gonna kill me now. Who the kid? And I know there's probably guys listening, screaming his name at their computer right now, and I just can't. I'm drawing a complete. But Coronado. That's a Calgary, not Montreal.
Right.
Coronado. Farrell's with Montreal.
But since we brought up Logan Cooley's contract, let's talk about Connor Bedard. It needs to be discussed.
Sure.
Where do you think the holdup is?
I just don't. If it's anybody's holding it up, it's probably Bedard's agent. Because Connor Bedard does not care about these things. He just wants to play hockey, and so he hired his agent to do it for him. I'm sure the Hawks probably wanted to get this done before the season started, ideally, but his agent smartly said, "Nope, this kid's going to have that year that takes him from being a very good young player to being a superstar, and then you're going to pay him to be a superstar." Rightfully so. So, I mean, the Cooley deal is a good starting point for the Blackhawks. If they can get that locked in, that'd be really good. Because you look at their numbers, they have nearly identical numbers through their first 2 years. Now, Cooley's played a few more games because Bedard got hurt in his rookie
Bedard
season.
had the broken jaw.
But their numbers, their totals are nearly identical. So that could be a good starting point. But I'd be surprised if something isn't done before the season is over with. I don't see this going into the summer.
No.
I could see a nice, Olympic break. They get it done.
Especially if he doesn't make Team Canada. I think at that point we are where we are. Now, if you haven't been watching Face Off on Amazon Prime, it's really good. The new season, I'm almost done with the new season, but they had one episode that kind of focused in on Seth Jarvis. And Jarvis was on the Four Nations team last year. And I kind of feel like at this point, when you're sitting down to put Team Canada together, you'd definitely take Connor Bedard over Seth Jarvis.
Probably, yeah. I still think it's a little bit of a long shot for him to make it. He'll probably need a couple of injuries along the way.
Yeah.
But
maybe Seth Jarvis.
Yeah. Or Macklin Celebrini. I think because I still think he hasn't won over people as far as like the two-way game goes, and you are going to have to play some defense to win in the Olympics. There's a lot of talent over there. So,
are they playing NHL ice or international ice?
As far as I know, it's international ice. I mean, it's over in Italy. They're not playing in NHL rinks, so should be international ice, which would be good for Bedard. More places to use that speed. But we'll see how that goes. I mean, I think it's still tough for Bedard. I think out of Bedard or Nazar probably has the better chance to make his Olympic team.
Well, the one thing Jarvis has that Bedard doesn't have is a lot of postseason experience and playing in do or die games. So, I'm bringing up Seth Jarvis. I'm not singling him out as like last guy on the team, but more just because I just watched the thing today, the face-off episode today with Jarvis and playing. It was like I said, the whole series is excellent. I'm about to watch the last one for the season, but because they also go into it follows Jarvis and it also follows the whole trade deadline in Carolina last year. The trade deadline debacle.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to watch any of those yet. I'm going to hopefully get around to some of those this week with the Hawks playing late all week. I'll have some free time. One thing about Amazon Prime, though, their national Monday night broadcasts are hot garbage. Terrible. I watched a little bit last Monday because the Ottawa Senators were on, and it was right before they were coming to town. So I was like, all right, I'm going to watch the Senators tonight. So I have I can maybe sound like I know what I'm talking about tomorrow night. And the broadcast was brutal. I could not, for being a national broadcast in Canada, I was super disappointed in how bad it was. And Bob Forsling is the play-by-play guy, and I like him. It just, for whatever reason, it wasn't working. They put Brady Tkachuk up in the booth for a little while, and it was just awkward and bad. And your intermission is led by Tyson Nash, which is like Timu Paul Bissonnette. It's just bad, really bad. And then they did this segment.
Paul Bissonnette.
And then they did this
that's
segment.
That's the one thing with Face Off, man. Way too much biz.
Yeah, I'm over. I never was into it, but I'm just like,
yeah.
At some point, when is too much too much? Like I get why he's popular. I'm not part of his target audience. I'm cool with that. But at some point, it's like he can't be on everything. He was on this Prime broadcast. They did some awful Spittin' Chicklets 70s game show, and I literally watched like a minute of it, and I had to turn it off. I'm like, this is supposed to be comedy? I don't know what this is.
Yeah.
With Keith Yandel. Ugh, when did he? Ugh, it was bad. But again, I'm not the target audience, so I'm sure
Rangers legend Keith Yandel.
Yeah. But I was just disappointed in how bad that is for a Canadian national broadcast. It was tough sledding for sure. Maybe it'll get better as the season goes on.
You're almost longing for the return of Coach's Corner.
Almost. All right. I think we covered everything on our magic handy little outline you put together. Didn't mean to say handy after the Cranking Hogs segment. Sorry.
Yeah, because I haven't gotten up to wash yet.
Oh boy. All right. That's a good dropping point right there.
Al, play us out.
All right. That has been another episode of Second Balcony. Thanks for hanging up here where the cigarette smoke hangs out for another episode. We're going to try and get back to you as soon as possible. We'll work out a date for, I know the next few days are a little touch and go. So, but if you hit the subscribe button on YouTube or follow us wherever you're listening on your audio only versions, they'll tell you when we pop up again. So you don't have to go searching us out. So do all that, like, follow, subscribe, tell your friends, all that fun stuff. Thanks again to Frank for spending an hour with me here, and we'll talk to you in the very near future.